Can you name 5 things that you have in your freezer with accuracy? How about your pantry? Do you know how many bags of beans you have stored? Well, I didn't until I started using OneNote. Well, hi everyone, I'm Crystal from A Crystal Clear Life, where we focus on planning, organizing, and living a more simplified life. Today, I want to talk to you about another step in my meal planning journey. That step is creating a pantry and freezer inventory. Now, I have an upright freezer and I love it, but I don't always know what's in there. And I can't always put my hand on a package of frozen corn or chicken breast when I need it. I also find that I forget what's in there from time to time. Let's say I'm at the store and they're having a sale on pork chops, and I can't remember if I have pork chops in the freezer or not. I had tried my hand at making a freezer inventory years ago. I cleaned out the freezer, I wrote everything down in a spreadsheet, how many things I had, I printed it out, it looked beautiful, I hung it on the front of the freezer door, and that was it. I never updated it, I never added to it, I never took away from it. It was simply a snapshot in time and not really a working part of my meal plan. So that never really worked out for me. Also, the shelves in my freezer are very strong and very big, and they hold a lot, but everything was just kind of jumbled in there, and I couldn't see where anything was or couldn't find things when I needed them. So I needed to update my inventory system, and fast. So I collected some baskets that were designed to hold loose leaf paper. They're roughly 9 by 12. I used to use them in my classroom for centers and other things, and I knew that they would fit in my freezer perfectly. So I collected those and some labels, and I got busy. I started with the labels, and I made labels for chicken, beef, turkey, vegetables, fruits, etc. And I decided that I would hang these labels on the outside of my baskets so that I would know what was in each basket, and so that my family members would also know what was in each basket. Then it came time to getting down to the inventory. So I popped onto my computer and I made a freezer inventory page in OneNote. I simply created some tables, added some titles to them, and got started. Then I took my iPad downstairs with me to the freezer. I set up a table, laid out my baskets, all with their labels on them, and started going through the items in the freezer. I would pull something out, write it down on my iPad, put the quantity that I had and any dates that were important, maybe when I stored it in the freezer, maybe when it was about to expire. And I went through all of the items in my freezer. Then I put my baskets back in my freezer, and there you go. Now, is my freezer perfect? No way. It's not going to be in any magazine or on any Instagram post for sure, but it is highly functional for me and for my family. And that's really what's the most important. After that, I moved on to my pantry, and I basically did the same thing. Took my iPad, created my page, wrote down items as I went through the shelves organizing things, and now I have a complete pantry inventory. Here are some quick reasons why you might want to make a freezer and pantry inventory. Having an inventory helps you stay within your food budget because you know what you have on hand and you know what you need, and you can stay within your budget by buying only what you need. The second reason is it helps you meal plan effectively. If you saw in my meal planning video using OneNote that I'm able to meal plan in 15 minutes because I can look at my freezer inventory and my pantry inventory and know exactly what I have on hand for meal planning for that week. It's quick and easy. Having my inventory also helps me store things with confidence. Because I have the dates listed there, as I'm doing meal planning, I can scroll through the use by dates and know if something needs to be used in the next week or so that it doesn't expire. The last reason that having an inventory is helpful is because it keeps me from overbuying. Let's say I'm in the store and I see that there's a sale on canned goods. I can look at my pantry inventory and know if I need canned corn or canned beans. And then I can buy it if I do, and if I already have some, I know that I don't need it. Saves me from overbuying. Before we move over to the computer, where I'm going to show you how I created my inventory in OneNote, please give me a thumbs up if you like this video and you think that you're learning anything here. Also, you can hit the subscribe button if you'd like to learn more about what we do here at A Crystal Clear Life. I post videos about every Friday. You can hit that notification bell and they'll notify you when I upload a new video. Okay, let's move to the computer and let me show you how I created my inventories using OneNote. Action! All right, here we are at the computer, and you can see here that I have my freezer inventory brought up for you to see. You see I keep it in my recipe section of my personal notebook, so it's always easy to find. When I first set it up, what I did is I created the page and I titled it Freezer Inventory. Then I simply inserted a table and I gave it a title, turkey, chicken, beef, etc. I labeled the columns with item, quantity, and a use by date. You'll notice if I click on this that each one of these tables is in its own container. You can tell it's in its own container because of the little gray bar at the top. So that container, you see I can click on it and I can move it around if I would like to. And the reason that I put each one in its own container is so that if I need to add to this particular table, I can simply come down here to the bottom of the table, and let's say I have some more beef that comes in. All I have to do is hit enter and it creates another row within that table. I don't have to reorganize a whole long table because I've simply added another beef item. So I'm going to jump down here to the bottom and show you how I created these tables. But as we're going, I want you to notice that I have one for turkey and chicken, one for beef, a category for pork and fruits. I have a category for pre-planned meals. I have a category for frozen vegetables, breads and doughs, baking items. And I'm going to add a new one here so that I can show you how I did that. Now the first thing that I did when I started this page is I went up to the Insert menu up here and clicked Insert, Table. And I knew that I wanted 3 columns, and I just chose about 6 rows at that point. The titles that I wanted to put into the columns were item, quantity, and use by. Now to make them stand out a little bit, I wanted to change the font color. So back at my home menu, I can choose this pretty blue color. And because I'm getting old and my eyes are not as great as they used to be, I can make it a little bit bigger if I would like. Now inside this container, I also want to put the title of the category that I'm using. So I'm simply going to go to the top of my table and hit enter a couple of times, and that gives me the space to write a title of my category. And in this case, the category title is going to be beverages. And again, I'm going to change that font. I like the Bradley font, so I'm going to go down there and find that. And again, I'm going to make it larger so that I can see it. And I'm going to change it to that pretty blue color, and I'm even going to make it bold. I can center it if I'd like. Put it in the center of the container. Now notice how big the container got. In order to control that, all I have to do is grab that top arrow and pull it back in. I'm going to make it about as wide as the one above. And I'm going to give myself some more room down here in the items. Now, when I go to type my items in, these cells will change size. So for example, if I put orange juice, you will see that the columns move over. and I'm going to put that that's in a can. It's one of those frozen cans, and I only have one of those, and I need to use that by January of 2022, which shouldn't be a problem because that's one of my favorite things to put in Christmas punch, and hopefully we'll be able to have Christmas celebrations this year. So that's it. That's as easy as it is to create these tables. If I wanted to, I could go up here to the top of this container, and you see when I click on it, the entire thing is highlighted. All I have to do is say copy, come beside it, and hit paste. And I have another one ready to go. All I need to do is go in here now and change it from beverages to, let's say, how about desserts? That could be a category. And then I simply can go in and change the items as I need to. Ice cream bars. I have a package of 8 of those. They're not going to last until January because they're so good. But anyway, I can then click on this and move it down here. And you see that I have another table ready to go. Now let me jump over and show you my pantry inventory, because I told you once I finished my freezer inventory, I did the exact same thing with my pantry. The pantry looks a little bit different. First of all, there's a lot more things in my pantry because I tend to be one of those people who likes to be prepared for things. And you see that I chose a different font and a different color, purple for pantry, because I like alliteration. The freezer inventory was blue because it's cold in the freezer. I know you guys think I'm crazy. Everybody who knows me thinks I'm crazy, but that's okay. But you can see here I did exactly the same thing. Each table is in its own container. I have the item, the quantity, and when it needs to be used by. One of the beautiful things is that if I want to look for something, let's say I'm in the store and I want to see if I have hamburger patties, I can simply go up here to the top of OneNote and type in hamburger, and you see at the top right here, it comes up in the freezer inventory. I click on that, hamburgers, 0. Oh my. So what I tend to do is when it's something that I like to keep on hand, I don't erase it completely. I leave it in there with a 0 quantity so that if I am shopping, I know that's something that I might want to purchase at some point, and I know exactly how many I had. If I had deleted the word hamburgers altogether, then I wouldn't have had it in my freezer inventory to look at. You can see how creating a freezer and pantry inventory in OneNote is really helpful for meal planning. You know, without traipsing downstairs to the freezer or into the kitchen, into the pantry, you know exactly what you have on hand and exactly what you need to buy. Well, I hope this has inspired you to create your own freezer and pantry inventory. Sure has been helpful for me, I tell you what. Anyway, until next time, okay, bye.